Okay, well, I think we're going to start just a couple of minutes early here because I'm an impatient person. That's really what it boils down to. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me here on a Saturday. Really appreciate you guys doing that. When I jumped on here earlier to like get this stream started and whatnot, I saw there was like 30 people waiting. I don't think I've ever had 30 people waiting. So thank you. That's honestly kind of makes me smile. So thank you very much for hanging out and being here a little early so that we could chat about stuff today. Let's go back over to the list here. I finally got this kind of working up here so I can look at you guys while I'm talking to you rather than looking over here like I hate doing so very much. We've got Jan, we've got ADHD Arts and Entertainment LLC saying, hey, Glenn Johnson saying, howdy. I seem to have nothing to do today unless they plan to pay me or unless they plan me a load soon. Oh, you must be, are you driving, Glenn? That sounds, I feel like you've been here before and you're a truck driver, if I remember right. I'll have to rewatch. Just realized I got to pick up my groceries. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you being here. Sven says, good evening. Jason Budney is here also. C says, my interest in this product died pretty quick when I realized it's from a Chinese company. I get that, sort of. I do. Goldball says, hello. C also says, thank you for making such great content. Well, thank you for watching it. Sven says, DB, the Mario Kart fan, bro, you have no idea. I got Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo my freshman year of high school, and I played it all day, every day for an entire summer. 30 years later, my wife still won't play. Like she just, if like, we'll do Mario Kart on the Switch, and she does pretty good there. You get me back on the SNES, man, she doesn't want to play anymore. So, Jorge says afternoon. Glenn says, yep, today I'm a trucker sitting though. That sucks. You don't get paid for sitting, and that sucks. Jorge says in Spain. Roar Dog Media says hello everyone. Carlos says hello from Portugal. Outstanding. And Luis Antonio says I'm watching from Brazil. That's amazing. Thank you guys all so much for hanging out today. Like you caught with the title and the thumbnail and all of that, the plan today is to talk about something that I just learned about called Cloudreve. There are some pros and cons to it that we'll talk about as we kind of go through this. I'm going to be honest and upfront with a couple of things. One, I've only been running this for a few days. Initially, also, as was mentioned earlier by C, I'm a bit concerned with it being a Chinese company, just because of some of the politics that require them by law to acquire data, that sort of thing. So I don't know what that kind of looks like from this perspective. I haven't really dug into traffic logs and things like that on my network to see if anything is being sent where we wouldn't want it to be. So that is a bit, take all of that with a grain of salt, I guess, is what I'm getting at. Also, too, they have a free license, which I think most people are going to use, but they also have a pro license. And so there are some things that are hidden or are restricted behind a paywall. That said, it's really just stuff for running a more business approach with this, because you can actually monetize Cloudreve. So they did provide me with a pro license. That said, here's how that went down. I just want to get some of this stuff out of the way quickly here. This is their product pricing overview. If you go to like here, this is the page you'll land on by default. If you go to special offers though, and nonprofits and content creators, I was like, hey, I clicked this button, I sent them an email, and I was like, hey, I fall under this category, would love to get a pro license so I can talk about it on a stream and maybe make some content about it. So they sent me a pro license. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at in this video, is the stuff that is on the pro side of things. But I think we may also do a separate deployment so that we can see kind of the differences here. There are like 3 items in the dashboard that are hidden behind a pro thing there. So again, that's mostly business stuff. So this is sort of sponsored, but not really. So I just want to get those couple of things out of the way there. That all looks good. Sorry, I'm checking my screen over here. I fixed something, my camera, so that it doesn't look nearly as bad as it did. Turns out my teleprompter had a wallpaper on it that was reflecting red maroon onto my face in the last video, if you caught that. And I had my Kelvin set at like 6,200 or 6,000 or something, when it should really be like 5,300 in here. I did a little check with my camera, and hopefully this looks better, more lifelike and whatnot. Also updated this finally. All of the stuff over here should be way more up to date, because I was like a month behind, and I apologize. Let's see. Let me go back over to here. Jorge says international audience. I love that. I really do. People all over the world hanging out with us today, and I dig that. Mandy / Alexia is here. Glad to again see familiar faces. Glenn says, I'm not doing much cloud storage much. I mostly hit my server from Tailscale and keep my stuff on there. Really, the only cloud usage I do on the regular is saving my app data back up to Google Drive. I totally get that. This is self-hostable. This Cloudreve is. It's very, very easy to deploy. In fact, we'll look at this. This is the Docker Compose. We'll come back to this later, but I've got this hosted on a little mini PC over here. So yeah, it's not necessarily cloud storage so much as it is. It's kind of I mean, honestly, it looks a lot like Google Drive, which is what really got me into it. So let's see. Thomas W says, hey all. Podcast Cafe says hello from Germany. Glenn says, looks pretty good to me. Glad to hear that. Thank you so much. Referencing back to the camera changes I made. That's what it was. I felt something had changed. Yeah, I fixed my camera settings. Thomas asks, is that a big monitor? That's a small TV. I think it's like a 27 or a 32 inch TCL Roku TV. We, as last Christmas, updated the TV in the bedroom we updated the TV in the living room, so the TV that was in the living room went to the bedroom. The TV that was our bedroom went to the kids' room. The TV that was in his bedroom went right there. So, yeah, so that's what happened there. This is a Roku TV, and I'm running a piece of software on a Raspberry Pi, whose name always escapes me. It's Antheus. Antheus is the software that I'm running on a Raspberry Pi. This is it right here. And it's running over there on a Raspberry Pi right under the TV. And this just lets me upload media, pictures, movies, videos, web pages, things like that. And it just displays up there. So that's what's going on there on the TV behind me, is just the software. I can schedule things, I can turn things on and off. Pretty easy to use. I've been using it for a while, really, really dig it. In fact, I think it was somebody in the community that told me about Antheus, and I've been loving it ever since. Super easy to set up and manage. Andrew, is this like a file browser alternative? I got to take another look at file browser. It's been a really long time since I looked at it. I mean, sort of, I think. Sorry, I'm looking at the file browser website here. Sort of, I feel like I made a video about file browser at some point, but I feel like Cloudreve is a bit more than that. Like here I can right click and I can upload files, folders, upload from clipboard, do a new remote download. We'll talk about some of this in more detail later. New folder, new file, markdown files you can create, draw.io files, text files. It's got Excalidraw built into it. it will do things like, let me make sure my audio is turned down as to not blow that up. You can see if you hover over, you get kind of a larger preview of that if it's available. But like if I double click that, it'll play, this is an MP4, the one that I uploaded earlier. Yeah, so it'll just play video right here. It will do all kinds of really fun stuff. Like this is a video that I took last week. This one might take a minute. This is actually a really big video that's trying to... Is it going to do it? There it goes. So this is a bee that I found a wasp that I found in my house. Anyway, lots of really good stuff here. Let's see. Ooh, I'm going to screw that up. Wow. I'm going to call you a Klein because I'll screw up the rest of that since I gave you my heart with the laughing face. Thomas says, I want a way to back up and save all of my stuff from my phone and sync with the share easier locally. I'm going to skip. Sven, I'll come back to you. And then Mandy says, I suppose I can sync my phone with Cloudreve too. Yes. And that's one of the other caveats. With Cloudreve, oh, damn it. With Cloudreve, to my knowledge, yeah, if we come over to here, under products, there's Cloudreve Core, build your personal cloud storage, and connect any Cloudreve site on iOS devices. Now, I did some reading. I believe that there are some other apps for Android that will connect with Cloudreve, but I don't have 100% certainty on that. Yeah, connect any Cloudreve site to your iOS device. But there's also this. Cloudreve for iOS device only charges end users. You can flexibly choose building plans according to your needs. So, again, not great for that. But, the one thing I haven't actually checked is I lied. I think I have. But I didn't put a lot of effort into my check. Here we go. So I don't know that it will actually sync automatically, but like the interface on the phone isn't bad. So I feel like if I upload photos and videos, those are probably not things that oh, there we go. Just do that. Cool. So I just uploaded a file from my phone to here. And then if I do like a refresh, I feel like there was a refresh right there. Like I just uploaded this from my phone. Also, we can see that there are several different options in here on how to open things. So just click image viewer just once. I just uploaded that from my phone. That said, I did have to do it manually. So there are definitely some caveats to Cloudreve, but I wanted to talk about it just because I think it's an interesting idea. To my knowledge, though, again, there's only an app for iOS, and it seems like even that isn't free. Site bulk purchase volume license. So I don't know. It's an interesting app, but yeah, I wanted to talk about it at least for a minute so we can kind of see what's going on there. When I come back to Sven, he says it would be great if you had a scraper to get the member list so you didn't have to update them manually to display on your screen. I agree. So here's the thing, right? Like for channel members, patron members, and Twitch members that scroll through here, all of these are videos that I manually build in a perfect world once a month. Because I want each one to be different as far as like the background and that sort of thing. There's probably a way that I could do that, but I'm not good with APIs and scrapers and that sort of thing. It could probably be done relatively easily if I was smarter, and that's what it boils down to. So yeah, I probably could. I'm just I'm lazy and I don't feel like doing the research. So I go to Twitch and YouTube. Twitch is kind of obviously on the back burner. We're not doing Twitch right now, but I go to like my channel members and my Patreon members, and I export a CSV, which I can actually show you here in a minute. I can do it with Cloudreve now. And then I drop that into a pre-built Adobe Premiere project, and then adjust the timing as needed. Sorry, I was reading Smarter in a comment that just came up and my brain fritzed. Thomas says, image hurts my head and Nextcloud drives me nearly to drink heavily. I believe that. I like the idea behind image. And I'm not a fan of Nextcloud because it's so needy. Jason says, I prefer to dump my photos. Syncing always gets me into trouble. Yeah, I use the Synology app to sync my photos to my Synology. I've got my wife set up doing the same thing. It's just easier, in my opinion, to keep everything locally that way. Big fan. So, and look, I understand, like I'm using the Synology app, which means everything is running through Synology servers to get back here. I get that. There's always a gotcha doing that kind of thing. So, I used to use SyncThing, and then that got to be too much of a pain in my butt. So, Andre says, hi from Estonia. That's awesome. Goldball says, Cloudreve supports WebDAV, so there might be some app that can sync with it, and that's a really good point. We'll talk about WebDAV a little bit. I'm still not 100% up on WebDAV, but you're not wrong. C says, got to go do some yard work. Have a good, great one. Thank you so much for hanging out for a minute. Glenn says, ChatGPT kind of helps me fill in those smarter gaps. Me too. I use it pretty frequently to help me figure some things out, but I don't know, maybe I'll look into that. Mandy says, David, calling himself not smart, you really are. I appreciate that. I do. I just, it's, I have a lot of gaps in my knowledge that I really should be doing something about. Would Cloudreve be better than Synology Drive? No, I really don't. I really don't think it would be, honestly, just because while the base app can be even the Pro app can be self-hosted, it only seems to be natively compatible with an iOS device as far as apps are concerned, and they're charging for that as well. But and I know it seems really counterintuitive that I would talk about this app based on those things, but I really like the aesthetic of it, and I'm hoping that maybe they can find a way to lower the charge on that or something, or figure out something else, because I really feel like what was it, like $6 a month? Hold on, I don't know what this is. Hold on, do this to USD. Oh, okay. Okay, so hold on. This changes things a little bit. I'm gonna close some of this stuff out so that we're not getting all confused here. Hold on. Let me do this. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so let me. Okay. This kind of changes. This kind of changes things, right? This is 6 yen a month. Here we can see I did a search for 6 yen to USD. 6 Japanese yen is 4 cents, 4 United States cents per month. If we did, do we have United States? Man, I don't even know. British pound, maybe? It's not in there either. The euro? Oh, is it? Wait, to be up here. My alphabet failed me. The euro would still be less than 4 cents. Yeah, so we're not talking about a huge amount of money here. Like I think you could pretty easily, if we did 60 instead, So we did 60 Japanese yen would still be like 35 pence per year. That's got to be wrong, right? Like, that's got to be wrong. It's not Japan, it's China. Okay, but like, this is yen, right? Like, is there a Chinese yuan maybe? Okay, so €7 a year. So let me find USD again, because my brain works better with that. $8.43 a year if we went with the Chinese yuan. So still not a huge yearly cost to use their iOS app. But again, that only works if you've got an iOS device. And I know that a lot of people do, but I do not. I have a MagSafe case on my phone. I know that, but this is an Android. So I don't know. But still, it's whatever. Let me scroll back up here. Let's see. Andrew says Nextcloud sucks, but subscriptions for self-hosted apps do so even more. I kind of agree with that. I think it depends on what you're doing, right? Like the self-hosted version of this, the standard, what you and I would probably use for Cloudreve is free. It's only when you start looking for some of the business features that those things are hidden behind a paywall. But just the standard stuff that the people like us would more likely use is free. So I'll give them that. But I think on the backside of that, they want to make at least a little bit of money to support their development. And I don't necessarily hate that, but as was mentioned, there is an option in here under dashboard and file systems, no settings. Man, now I don't remember where it is. Storage policy, file system. No, where is it? It's under remote. Nodes, groups, files, blobs. Sorry, I'm trying to think about connected mount. Here we go. So WebDAV accounts. So you can connect a WebDAV account to this. And you can then create your account and it will give you the credentials that you would need to remotely connect to it. And I don't want to share that here because you can't see my screen. Let me actually look and see if I can share this. Of course not. Why would I be able to do that? But basically, let me come over to here. So under here, there is connect and mount. And then from there, you can create a WebDAV account or an iOS app. So if you've got an app that will connect your phone to a WebDAV thing, then it might absolutely be worth going that route. I think maybe they're just charging for the direct app. So there's probably a way around that. Again, I'm just not super familiar with setting up WebDAV stuff, so I don't have a lot of stuff to say about that. Jason says, I lost lots of stuff using SyncThing. I did too. I think that's part of the reason is like it was kind of getting needy as well, in that I needed to constantly be making sure it was connected and doing its thing. Maybe it's gotten better because it's been a few years, but yeah. So Thomas says there has to be a self-hosting solution for syncing pictures and stuff locally from your phone and PC that works seamlessly. Again, I think it's going to be that WebDAV solution. I think you'd have to set up a WebDAV server and connect that and use that as your intermediary, and then have a WebDAV compatible app on your phone. I think that's how you would get around that. There you go. Smart people realize there's much to learn. Dumb people think there's the smartest people in the world. That's the Dunning-Kruger effect right there, Mandy. I know that I'm 5 minutes behind, but you're absolutely right. Oh, and most important, open source and free. Euro. There we go. We got caught up there. Glenn says I don't do Apple. I don't either. Like I have an iPhone X that I did for a project, but it's sitting in a drawer. Can it handle online edit for multiple users? Nextcloud AI says, well, I have to look. Thanks for the lead. Yeah, so you can, like if we go back over to here, like you can do like a share and you can, you can set it up so that they can read, create, update. So it would be very much like Google Drive if you've ever used that. In fact, this looks very similar to Google Drive's setup. So anonymous visitors can read, and you can't do anything other than let them read. However, everyone else you can adjust how that works. And then you can protect with a password, automatic expiration, expire after being downloaded, or pay to download. So that's something. Again, this option would require that you have a pro license in order to pay to download. There's a few different payment providers that they have available. We'll take a look at that. But like, okay, so something else I thought that was kind of neat. Like this is my wife, my father-in-law. This was downtown Colorado Springs earlier this week. If you right click and you go to view details, let me get my stupid face out of the way. Oops, geez, that was the wrong thing to move. I should have locked that. I'm nuts. I did lock that. HD60 is, oh, duh. Let's lock that and unlock that. There we go. How? Sorry for yelling. HD60 is unlocked. That should be locked. There we go. Right. Anywho, if we scroll over here under details, right? There, let's make it so you can see my mouse. We can actually see information about the shot as far as the f-stop, the exposure, the ISO. Additional stuff here, Samsung Galaxy S24, when it was taken, the resolution, and the location. We had breakfast over here the other day. Banana Cat, this picture right here was taken right there downtown Colorado Springs. So it's very, very, very accurate. And that was kind of fun to see. We also did like this. Oops. This was at the Denver Aquarium. Again, I was just kind of playing with my phone that day. But again, same thing here. Like that's where I was at the Denver Aquarium, which I thought was crazy that it was that accurate. Like I've got some other pictures of maybe I deleted them because it was super creepy. Like it showed kind of which part of my house I was in. So yeah, it's bonkers stuff. Mr. Souza's here. What about C-File? I made a video about C-File. It's fine for what it does. We're talking about this today. Thunder, in Australia, Cloudreve shows $1 a month iOS. That's awesome. Still not bad if you want to go that route. Glenn says, the thing I hate about Synology is their hard drive compatibility restrictions and price. Maybe a small, cheaper one would be good for syncing photos and such. So there's actually a way around that, Glenn. We'll talk about that for a minute. So it's only with the newer, the 25 devices, the 25 plus devices rather. If you say, let's say you've got an older device, right, that you've decommissioned or whatever, or maybe you can shut it down for a minute. You can put new drives of whatever kind you want in the old device and set up the RAID array and then shut that down and then move them over to the new device and spin it up and you don't lose anything. So there's a bit of a workaround for that. It sucks, especially if the 25 plus device is your new or your only device, your first, foray into Synology. But if you've got an older device, you can beat the system. So, so again, not a great solution, but it is a solution. Sven says, did I see the ability to do some light photo editing? Possibly. Oops. Let's do open with Photopea. For some reason, this started showing up, and I genuinely don't know how or why. But again, remove ads for 3 months for only $15. Can we do so? Oh, you know what? Let's do this because I actually uploaded a Photoshop file right here. We'll use Photopea for that, and there it is, right? So if we do full screen on this, Yeah, we can absolutely, we can do photo editing with this kind of a Photoshop replacement right here inside Cloudreve via Photop, which I think is kind of cool. You know, I can move stuff around, whatever I want to do there. I'm gonna exit out of that. I don't want to save. I probably screwed that up. But it's, you know, it's whatever. We've got SVG support via Google Docs Viewer, Image Viewer, Photop. We'll just do Image Viewer, and it actually handles it really well. So there is absolutely some photo editing via Photop. I'm not entirely sure how that got integrated, to be completely honest. It did take a bit of effort to do some other things, like getting editing available for like Office files like docx, XLS. In fact, right here, if I can just open this, double click it. This is channel members. That's fine. And there's channel members. Most of that is redacted enough. I don't feel too bad about it. But yeah, like I can come in here and change this to yes. Like so I can edit CSV files, XLSX files, Word doc files. You know, we've got a Word. You can use Microsoft Office Online Viewer with this. If I do that, it's going to load it, and then I can just type away. So for this to work, I did have to get I think it was only Office installed and connected via like an API for that, via the API link that they gave there. So there's a lot of functionality built into this that I think under the right circumstances would be a great solution. You know, if you don't do a lot of this kind of stuff on your phone and you just wanted file and document storage that you can access from basically anywhere, I think this might be a good solution. Again, it's free. It's accessible via you know, via a reverse proxy, and it works pretty well as far as that's concerned. Let's see. I think it would help a lot if you activated the audio track mode for translation in Brazilian Portuguese and also in other languages, of course. Oh, you mean the auto dubbing? I've heard people having a lot of issues with the auto dubbing solution. I might give it a try just to see what happens. But if I feel like if it starts affecting my views, I would have to turn it off. So I don't know. We'll see. Anton Lebedev, I hope I got that right, says, hey all. Well, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate that. Bill Holmes says there's an easy workaround to use non-Synology brand hard drives for the 25 Plus series. See Carrie Holmes June 29th live. That's interesting. I haven't seen that, but I'm glad other people have solutions as well. That's very cool. I dig that. Thank you for sharing. So anyway, this is kind of the interface, right? And then under like, this is my files, and here we can kind of scroll up and we can see all of the folders and that sort of thing. Under photos, we'll just see our photos. Under videos, we'll just see our videos, right? So it sorts everything out, and I really appreciate that. I want to make sure my desktop audio isn't on, but right, like I can just start playing this, hopefully. There we go. Sven, thank you so much for the donation of 5 memberships. So what's cool about when you start playing music, I will turn this down as to not cause issues, and I'll play some music here. But this is playing, right? Like if we come up to here now, we've got a little music player right there. We can see the full list of music there. What's cool about this is as I navigate around the site now, the music keeps playing, and I love that perspective of it. I turned that off because I don't want to get hit with a copyright. Darkan15 says, hello, David in chat. Well, thank you for hanging out, man. Appreciate seeing you here. Again, Sven, thank you so much. Mandy says, the English audio track was once activated on Dutch video. While I can speak Dutch perfectly fine, I compared the audio track in the original video, and the English track was just horrible. And that's my concern. That is my concern, Mandy. Thank you for bringing that up. There was an agency that reached out to me a few years ago to get me over onto a kind of a Chinese version of YouTube. It wasn't Bilibili, it was something else that I think was also owned by ByteDance, which is the owner of TikTok, because I was working directly with ByteDance for this collaboration that went on for a few months of testing. And one of the issues that I ran across as I was doing some testing, basically some research on what they were doing, the translations were like the nearest approximation. So if I said something that was very specific to a Docker container, it was something completely random and had nothing to do with what I'd actually said. And that really, really frustrated me, because basically at that point, I was just a pretty American face, and I use air quotes there, on a Chinese. I was a novelty, right? Like I was a novelty on their platform. My views weren't great. I wasn't able to, but that's a separate thing, right? Effectively, the translations were garbage, and I was a novelty, and that's what concerns me with the auto dubbing stuff. And I'm glad that Maddie brought that up, because I'm afraid that if the auto dubbing isn't done correctly, it'll just be me speaking gibberish in another language somehow, and that kind of terrifies me, because I've got at least a little bit of a brand and at least a little bit of a reputation and at least a little dignity. And I'd like to maintain those for as long as possible. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of concerned about the auto dubbing. So I'm glad Mandy brought that up. Come back over here. We can see files that have been shared with me. I'm the only user, so there aren't any. There's trash. Again, you can see those in there. Content shared by me. I shared this a couple of hours ago. Vaz, thank you so much. Mandy says the words were correct, but the voice for the different people was just horrible. Vaz says, we starting this again, right? I'm never going to say no. I'm not sure how many people are available to become members. With our recurring cast of chatters, I don't know how many we're going to get. As far as I don't know how many new people are here that would be able to benefit from that. So, right, Sven asks, who's next? That's funny. Thank you guys very much. Let me move this back over where I belong in the corner. Right there, I think will work. Connect and mount, we kind of looked at this a little bit before. WebDAV servers, I really need to look into more of this, because I think the WebDAV thing could be very, very beneficial. If you wanted to use Cloudreve on your phone, your tablet, whatever, without having to do an iOS thing and have to pay for it. I feel like there's an opportunity here with a WebDAV server that could make that work. Let's actually look. Self-hosted WebDAV server for sync. Setting up an OmniFocus sync server with WebDAV NAS server. That's using OmniFocus. Let's take a look and see what Reddit has to say. And try SFTP Go. Well, maybe there you go. Maybe that'll work. SFTP Go is an event-driven SFTP TPS, HTTPS, a WebDAV server that you can leverage local and cloud storage backups for exchanging and storing files. That's got a Docker installation. So maybe you set up there we go. Yeah, so it looks like maybe you set this up. There's a Docker Compose for you. That's weird. I don't see storage there, but maybe you don't need it. Maybe it just acts as a pass-through. Virtual host, create the first admin, user. You don't want to persist any files, for example, for testing purposes. Interesting. So that might work. That might work. So using SFTP Go, if there's a way to connect your phone to SFTP Go, so you start going down this rabbit hole of getting one thing to work with another to get to a third thing. You know, that's I guess that's the things that we do for entertainment when we self-host. Last time we managed to get 100% people as members. That is true. Spencer, I know you did a good job. So yeah, that's what's going on with the connect and mount here. Background tasks, I don't know. Background tasks, new remote download. I don't know what background tasks are for. But they're there. Remote downloads. I had a really, really bad time with remote downloads. I was literally downloading an ISO here. I was averaging like 60K, like 60 kilobytes per second, or yeah, I think kilobytes per second. And then I modified some things to adjust my pro license, and it failed out and just never restarted. So that was kind of a bummer. So you can do this here, but it wasn't a great time. So let's actually try it again. We're going to download. Let's try Debian download. Right? Jeff Owen says, "Oh, cool. I agree. This is downloading this way. Download with this. Let's do that. So then we're gonna do AMD 64, DVD, CD, USB. What? Okay, well, that is all for net install. Can we do it this way? Here we go. The size is very, very small. That's really weird. You know what? Let's do Ubuntu instead, just so we can see this kind of happen in real time here. We'll do download desktop. Sure, why not? Alternative downloads. Let's do this. I'm gonna grab this file. Okay, copy link address. We're gonna come back over to here again. This is an Ubuntu ISO, new remote download. We're going to put that right there. We're going to drop this into there and click OK, and then say OK. And it is processing this file for right now. So we're going to come back and take a look at that in a little bit. Roar Dog Media, thank you guys. Thank you very, very much for this. These continued membership raids that you're going on. I genuinely appreciate what you're doing here. It's weird for me for a couple of reasons. One, to have people that want to do this, but two, to have enough people in here to make it work. To have currently 50 to 60 people in here pretty consistently. When we first started this, it was 10 or 15. I think one time we peaked at like 80. And that just blows my gourd, that we're getting numbers like that. I know it's obviously not Mr. Beast levels of 100,000 people viewing at a time. That would overwhelm me. And I love 50 to 100 is kind of my sweet spot, I think. Flameberg 2K says, hey people. Glenn Johnson says, I see one base Synology disk stations on Amazon. Would that be good one for replacing my image server and just using a Synology solution it very well could be. I think you get the right drive in there. My concern would be if you've only got a single drive in there, there's no option for like RAID. So you've got one drive with no redundancy. I really feel like 2 drive minimum so that you can have at least one drive fail and not lose something is probably a safer way to go. Goldball says, I actually have a great time with remote download that changed the way I download. If we come over and we take a look at this number's been bouncing around from like 30 to 150. And I know that if I were to do that on one of the devices behind me, that it would be a much higher number, even with using a VPN. So I'm still not 100% sure what's going on here with the low speeds that I'm getting, but you know, it is what it is, as they say. Let's see, Darkin15 says the file browser app I have on my phone has supported Connect via WebDAV, SFTP, or Samba. So any of those are nice to have. I agree. That's awesome. Sven also says I wouldn't do a one disk Synology, minimum of 2. I agree. I had actually read that, but I'm glad we agree. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Everyone here is amazing. I agree with that too. We very rarely have any kind of incidents here. I think I had to ban some people on Twitch. I muted somebody on here a while back when we were talking about some of my health stuff and some of my approaches. But overall, it's been a great community, and I absolutely love that. Jorge Gomez says, good morning, all. Quiet Association says, hey, guys, happy Saturday. Glad, again, to see you guys here. Glenn says, I think that if I did a sync to the Unraid server, then I wouldn't really need a new RAID on the Synology. Okay, that's fair. If you're just dumping things on Synology for the simplicity of it and then backing up, you've got that covered. I think you're probably fine. Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea if you're going that route. Craig Barnes says, I installed Cloudreve and it's all in Chinese. Well, I would question if you didn't change a setting somewhere, because mine's all in English. Settings, preferences, language. Yeah, there's a bunch of languages. So if you come up to here and click on settings, go to the one with the pencil icon here. And then your first option should be, maybe try changing that to your language of preference there, Craig. Maybe that will help. Borg Swarm says, what up, DB Tech and peeps? Late again. I mean, 45-ish minutes. It's not bad. We've just been kind of digging through a little bit of Cloudreve here and talking about the pros and cons of it and some of the workarounds that you might need to implement to get it to work more like Google Drive, because that's obviously what it's doing here, right? It's 100% replicating Google Drive. As far as, you know, if we go to my files, you can see all your files here. You can edit Word docs and Excel spreadsheets and, where did it go? Where did it go? I was actually really impressed with this. Excalidraw is just built in. I didn't show you guys this earlier, but Excalidraw is just built in to this. And I thought that was amazing. Oops, I want to edit there. Let's bring this over to there like this. Right, and then we can do that. Right, this is Excalidraw just built into it. I forgot to mention that, and I love this. Let's see, the Synology would just be enable their cloud apps. Sounds like a perfect time to start learning how to read Chinese. Dude, that's a hard language to learn. There's a couple of guys, maybe they do Japanese though. Some of those languages have like 5 different variations of the language depending on the setting. And like they were talking about like clothing and to getting dressed, like upper body is one set of words and the lower body is a whole other thing, but then glasses and hat are separate entirely. Super confusing as a dumb American. So I would click the settings and go to preferences and adjust the language from there. Glenn Johnson, it's not possible to install Synology OS on the Unraid. I think I read it somewhere. Chris Barr says quantum. Okay. But come back over to here. Let's open this up. It's downloading the Linux, the Ubuntu desktop ISO there. But again, it's doing it very, very slowly. And honestly, you know what? It's entirely possible that it's the device that I'm on. I may be 100% unfair on this. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let's do prox tut. And let me get logged into this. And let me look at Cloudreve. I want to look at my summary here. See, this is what I wanted to see. This is the LXC that I have Cloudreve installed on. We can obviously see that it's doing something and has been pretty consistently here. We're not really maxed out on anything here. I wanted to see the disk I/O, the pressure stall, and the I/O pressure stall. And while we had some, it's not enough to really be. It's not really enough to be doing anything crazy there. So I don't know why we're having that issue. I don't know if there's a magnet link. That is an interesting idea. I don't know if magnet links are available here. These are all other Ubuntu mirrors. Let's look under here maybe. No, these are rsync. Man, that's that is combined. Okay, that is combined. Let's look at Australia. Photo releases. Wow. Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know if that's an option with that. See, Andrew says, is it safe to create backups with duplicati and then sync them to another machine? I'm planning to use a friend's PC as a backup because my offsite server has a lot of downtime recently. I don't see why not. You could go that route. I would probably use something like Tailscale or Netbird or one of those as the link between the two services to kind of bring it out of public view as far as internet traffic is concerned. But I feel like that might work. Glenn Johnson says I would like to think their OS is locked down to their boxes. There's a spin-off of Synology OS. Let me do a Synology OS alternative. Its name escapes me. There's a DSM alternative, and I know it's been brought up recently. Let's do a DSM OS fork. Expinology, there it is. Expinology might work, but I haven't messed with it in a really long time. Vaz says, I'd love to learn how to read and speak Chinese, but I'm an old fart. My brain's 40% of the time offline, 30% of the time idle. Yeah, I get that. I do. I learned a little Spanish when I dated a Colombian woman for a while, and that was a lot. It could be the amount of seeds on the torrent itself affecting the down. It could be. I agree. But also, Ubuntu is very popular. I agree. Yeah. Bill Holmes pulled it up at the same time I did Expinology. You're right. So yeah, it's entirely possible that could work. It's a month enough to learn. Is a month enough to learn Docker? I've been doing it for 5 years and I'm still learning stuff. But again, I learned at my speed. Maybe if you put a lot of time and effort into it and had an entire month to dedicate to it, maybe. I think you could definitely get a foundational understanding of Docker. But I don't think a month is going to be enough to be super proficient with it. But again, that is my take, and you may be much, much smarter than me. So give it a try. Let us know how it goes. Sven says, I found the torrent on that link. Okay. Bill Holmes says, don't bother with the Expinology. I don't doubt that. Absolutely, dude. 1 month is great. Want to have some free Docker Compose files to try to come back here for more every week, right? That's fair too. Especially now that the house is kind of chilled a bit. We had house guests for like 3 weeks running, and it was a lot. And I didn't make a lot of content other than doing live streams for a while. So we've picked up a little. We're at like almost 90, 85 to 90. But for the amount of time we've been at this, we're at 0.5%. So, it is what it is, as they say. Coming back over to here, we've got shop. if you got the free version of this, you can, I think, come here and it'll be like, use this code to get 15% off if you want the pro version. But again, most people aren't going to need the pro version. But that's kind of the front end. Again, in order to get some of this to work, I did also have to deploy. Let me come over to here. See document server ls. There we go. OnlyOffice, I deployed OnlyOffice to get a lot of the file edit compatibility things to work here appropriately. And we'll take a look at that here in a minute. But in fact, if we jump back over to the dashboard, this is kind of the admin area of this. And here you can kind of get an idea of, a summary of trends. This is users, files, and shares. We get a different version of that behind my head over there. What current version you're on, which I appreciate. We can also see I'm on the pro version as well. Again, I applied for the pro version because I'm a content creator. I did this. I sent them an email and they sent me a license. So that's why I've got the pro version of this. Again, lots of information here. License expiration date, I've got a permanent license, offline license at expiration. So, more stuff going on back here as far as information about the different releases and that sort of thing. When you sort by, I do this, let me come back to the very, very bottom of this. And we can see all of the different like GitHub release information here all the way at the bottom. That was March. I'll translate this into English. Yeah, there was something in here that was written in Chinese, but maybe I was actually on their GitHub. But yeah, so this is kind of the admin homepage in the back. Settings, we've got settings in here. So for basic, you can change the site name and the description, the URL, secondary URLs. You can, as the admin, add additional URLs to access this from, which I appreciate. Custom footer, HTML, announcement stuff, terms of service, privacy policy. You can change all of the branding, so you can kind of white label this. You can show a promotion page. I don't know what that does. User sessions, you can see active user sessions. Accept new signups, you can turn that on and off. Email activation, there's an email setting over here for SMTP, that sort of thing. Sign in with passkeys. I've got this turned on. I love passkeys. That's been a lot of fun. User groups, users, admin. Default user group, rather, is user or admin. Oh, excuse me. Default share shortcuts, no results. Filter email provider. You can whitelist or blacklist certain email providers to prevent spam, which I love. I think that's a great solution. Third-party sign-in with QQ Connect, Log2 or OpenID Connect OIDC. Oops, you can open that up and get more information about how to do that. So again, a lot of this stuff was absolutely built into the free version. I saw most of this in the free version, so this didn't require the pro version. Avatar path, it's just avatar, maximum file size, or you can use Gravatar if you want to go that route. CAPTCHA, you can enable that, but I think it's going to require a CAPTCHA. Maybe it doesn't require that. CAPTCHA v2, there we go. Now you got to have site keys, but plain graphics, letters and numbers, so some of this again is free, doesn't require a third-party API key. This is all for CAPTCHA. Media processing, thumbnails, garbage collection after a thumbnail is generated. Again, all of this I believe was in the free version as well. Enable a credit system to allow users to set prices for their share links. That's kind of cool. Yeah, so this part basically does require the pro version to be effective, though, for payment processing and that sort of thing. I know I apologize for scrolling up and down so much. I'm trying to find, there it is, payment provider, Stripe, WeChat, Alipay, and a custom payment provider. So those are the ones built in. So you can absolutely, if you got a pro license, make this a paid service for yourself, very much like Google does with theirs. Email server, just an SMTP server here with some email templates that I'm pretty sure that you can adjust. You can adjust it if you really want to get into the weeds with some HTML, some newsletter style HTML. I would rather not. There's English and there's Chinese here. Oops, oh geez, no, let's do that. Set English as preferred language. I've got a queue of things going on. We can get an idea of what's processed, what's failed, what is, all kinds of status things going on here as well. As far as just tasks going on in the background. More appearance stuff. You can change all kinds of stuff, add navigation items, change colors, custom HTML for landing page bottom, landing page footer, sidebar bottom. We can do like an H1 hi, and then close that and save, and then let's refresh. Hi, right down there. So that's how easy that is. If you want to add some HTML into your sidebar, your footers, those sorts of things, and then we'll refresh again, and now it's gone. Yay, fun stuff. We've got events. Configure which events should be recorded. Some events might be used by the system to provide additional features, file activity, sign-in activity, that sort of thing. You can decide what kind of information you want stored in the event log. If you're doing this just for yourself, this may not be a big deal. If you've got this up and running as a paid service, I would probably advise turning all of this on so you can be very granular about what has happened there. And then server, all kinds of stuff in there as well. And that's just the settings page. Beyond that, our file system, max size of editable document files. You can adjust this. By default, it's at 50 megs. Trash bin interval, blob cycle, recycler interval, all kinds of cool stuff in here. So again, lots and lots of settings in here. You can really be granular. And again, all of this is in the free version. I think payments, events, and abuse reports, those are the three that are in the pro version. Everything else is available for free. Site icons, you can change the colors of them. Yeah, there's a magnet right there. Is that the only one for that particular file type? It is. I don't know if magnet is an option in here even, for that matter. But I feel like maybe somebody said it was. I don't know. Emoji options, show settings. There we go. So options for emojis, file applications. Again, you can do, you can edit this kind of stuff. Application group 2. This, darn it, come on, scroll up. Application group 1 is the default that this comes with. Application group 2 was OpenOffice with the WO or the WAPI. That sounds racist to me and I hate it. But the WOPI extension here, that was connected to OnlyOffice. So we use the OnlyOffice API key, or the API setup with this type, to get all of those different file extensions to be editable and that sort of thing. All of the stuff here, platform, mobile, desktop, and all. File enabled or disabled. Again, you can edit or delete or move up and down. Move that stuff around pretty easily there. Storage policy, this is kind of neat. So let's say you wanted to have the admin storage policy to be local, and you wanted to have, like your users be on a different storage policy here off-site. You spin up, I don't know, an S3 somewhere, a remote node somewhere, Amazon S3 compatible, and then you can have your users be on a different storage solution. I love that you can split that kind of stuff out. You can mix and match. You can do all kinds of fun stuff in here. You can see the blob storage directory is data uploads, then the user ID, and then the path. Blob name is a random 8 key and the original name. So there's a lot of different stuff you can do in here, and I love I love this. Again, this is part of the free version as well. So, you know, do with that what you will. Can we edit this? I feel like I was able to edit this, but maybe not. I know I edited that somewhere, but I don't remember where I did that, if I'm honest. Nodes, again, you can actually, so right now we're on the master node. You can spin up additional nodes and have them all kind of working in conjunction with each other. You click new node, give it a name, spin it up. Let's call this test. Sure, whatever, right? And then you would spin up a new node with this information and they would start communicating, put in the new node endpoint, test the communication, and then you can have a kind of a multi-node configuration for redundancy and load balancing and those sorts of things. Groups, anonymous user, admin, you can create additional users if you want to here. Storage policy, there you go. So users could also have a different storage policy as well. And I love that. I think that's awesome that, again, you can be kind of granular in how you handle that. But again, this is groups. Create a new group, however you want to handle that. Users, again, it's just me. I don't care if you see my email address. It's very public. Files, and I love this. I genuinely love this. This is where I've seen a lot of other file systems or storage systems or whatever you want to call it fail, in that it's not going to show all of the users from all of the files from all of the users in a single place. It makes managing those things very, very difficult. So I'm really glad to see this here. You can open the file, you can delete the file, and I think this is great. Again, this is one of the things that I've missed from a lot of other solutions that we've looked at, is there's kind of a very weak way to see who's uploaded what. So I'm glad to see that this is here. We've also got file blobs, again, kind of more of the same. Shares, I've just got this one file shared here. Jan says, I'm going to give Cloudreve a try with a price of around $90 for a lifetime license. That's fair. I agree. And that includes updates and those sorts of things. I don't know if I've got any way to like take credit for like an affiliate thing or not, but have at. I would love to know what your thoughts are as well. But again, it shows this one share that I've got on the system. This isn't from my user account. This is on this system. Background tasks, again, we can see this remote download is finally up to 1%. And the distribution node, so that's there. Again, payments, no payments, we've got some events here, abuse reports, and then back to the home page. So that's kind of it. I guess we did miss something in here, right? So under settings, was it under file system? Applications, yeah. So, like I said, in order to get this to work properly, to get all of those file editing things and that sort of thing, I had mentioned having only Office up and running as another container on here. If I do, let me clear my screen. If I do a Docker PS, we can see all of this. And so basically at that point, once I had that up and running, I was able to come in here, click add an application. It was this WOPI application. And then I just put in the URL with basically, whatever the URL I had that at. And then it was, .com and then /hosting/discovery. You test it, you make sure it works. And then after a couple of hours of troubleshooting, I got it to work appropriately. So it may take some troubleshooting, but it's kind of a cool solution. And I think, again, if you got a web dev server set up that your phone could access, your tablet could access, you have a pretty solid solution here. Maybe there's a desktop app that you could use to back up certain folders automatically. Kind of a neat solution here as far as that's concerned. And I wanted to share that with you. So yeah, Yeah, Borgsworm says, I'm considering it myself, $90 for the lifetime license is no brainer, but the iOS app is about $6 a month. Yeah, I think if you got a WebDAV server, like I just mentioned, that worked on your phone, your tablet, that sort of thing, I think you'd have a pretty solid solution. So I don't know. Somebody that we looked at earlier mentioned SFTP Go as a possible self-hosted solution might be a way to do that. Sven says a pretty overwhelming app. Yeah. Again, if there was, you know what? Let's do this. Let me just do this, right? Yeah. So here's what we're gonna do, right? We're just gonna spin this up for ourselves so we can actually see how easy this is. I've already got this up and running. Let me see what I've got up and running here. That's fine, I don't care. There's basically nothing up and running here that's gonna matter. That should give us any interference. So let's do mkdir, Cloudreve, and then cd into Cloudreve. Do a nano docker compose.yaml, and then we'll just grab this as it is right here. And this way you guys can see what you should expect on that first deployment. I'm not going to change anything here. We're just going to use everything that's here. I'm not going to change usernames, passwords, any of that kind of stuff. Flameberg asks a really good question of, are they planning to have an Android app? I don't know. That was one of my first questions as well. So I don't know. I hope so. But again, I would wonder if they would then charge for that, like a monthly license. And at that point, is it worth it? I don't know. That's a choice that somebody would have to make. But I feel like if you had the gumption or whatever to set up the WebDAV server and configure your phone to back up to a WebDAV server, the port is 5212. It's right there. I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to deploy it as is. But you could absolutely change the port if you wanted to do that. I think overall you're probably looking at about 700 megs for a download of this between the app, the database, and the Redis cache. There we go. It's all up and running. We'll do 205 on 55 or 5212. Oops, on 5212. Hey, look, that's how easy that was. And so what we're going to do is sign up. The first account that you use, or the first account you sign up with, will be the admin account. Again, I don't care if you guys see this. Yeah. Dang it. And then we'll click sign up. And then we'll click that, and then we'll get logged in. Ta-da! Like, that's literally how fast and easy it is to get set up. Of course, you can put this on a reverse proxy. You can do that kind of stuff. If you come over here to this, hey, do you want to confirm the site URL? Yep, we'll set this as a primary site URL. If you were to, let's say you set this as the primary site URL and then later accessed it as an admin from a domain name, right? Whatever your favorite domain name is you use for your setup. If you set the IP address currently as the primary URL and then accessed it on the domain name later, you could set that as the primary domain name URL just like this, and then it would move the IP address to the secondary slot. And I love the forethought that they put into that. I'm going to set this as primary. Calculate. There's going to be literally nothing here. But here you can see payments, events, and abuse reports are all set there. There is that promo code I was talking about earlier. You get a promo code and you can save 15%. If you want to go that route, so save you like $6 on a $90 license. So that's something. It's 15%. And of course you can click more and get more information, or click maybe later, and then it'll close. I also wanted to see. Interesting. I don't see the store thing in here like we saw before, so I don't know. maybe there's something else that you can do with the shop. Enter a gift code. I don't know what that is. That's interesting. Maybe that has to do with the tokens or the points or whatever it was that we saw earlier. Like if you wanted to share something, I don't know, man. I haven't actually looked into that all that much, but yeah, this is kind of the back end. But again, you get, hey, look, there's your email server that you can set up, user sessions. You can set up currency. Again, this is labeled under Pro. Your appearance, your events. I guess again we saw events earlier was under Pro. Server, that's fine. Nodes, even nodes isn't under Pro, right? So that's pretty cool. Your storage policies, again, that's not locked under Pro. That's not paywalled. Groups, not paywalled. Users, not paywalled. Like background tasks, file blobs, shares, none of this has been paywalled. So again, if you wanted to get into the business side of hosting this, that stuff is paywalled. But yeah, for the general setup here to just be installable, just as it took us like 2 minutes or something to deploy that locally with no issues, right? So let's come back to here, right? So we've got our file there. Let me open up something over here. Pictures. Do I have any pictures? Cool. Hey, look, I have pictures. We're just gonna grab a bunch of pictures and drag those over. Oops. Tasks. Uploaded. Just that fast. I understand it's local. I get that, right? But image viewer just once. And of course you could set that to be all of the time. Man, it doesn't get much easier than that. Like just that quick and easy, guys. Like it's so dead simple to set up. Again, you can do the same thing with like video files if you wanted to do that. 919, this was the other day, right? This was yesterday. Was it 919? Sure. I have that and that. Right, we'll just drag that over there. Just that fast, it's uploaded. Come down to there. Sure. Hey, look, there it is. So that's what I wanted to show, is it's just that dead simple to set up. Spoopoos says, hey, glad to have you here. Goldbowl says, I think it's to redeem for more storage. Very well could be. Very well could be. Borg Swarm says, yeah, but if the product is good enough and useful to me and I didn't need those paid features, I would likely still buy it just to support the product development. It's when stuff gets expensive that I don't, right? And look, here's the thing, right? Like if you wanted to, like you could, I think, I felt like there was maybe that was for something else. Apps and services, $1 a month and up, Cloudreve for iOS for the root domain, special offers. Sorry, I thought maybe there was a monthly pro license, but you know, maybe I wasn't thinking about that. But yeah, so yeah, but if it's you know, call it $90 for a lifetime. Whew, that is unpleasantly bright. So $90 for a lifetime, you get updates, you get all that sort of stuff. You've supported the developer. You come up with a solution, a WebDAV solution for file synchronization from your phone or your desktop to here. And then all of a sudden you've got a Google Drive replacement, you know, that looks pretty good, honestly. Oh, you know what? I skipped something here. We kind of talked about it. My files, right? I need a new text file for demo purposes, right? Cool. And then Lipsum. Cool. We're just gonna grab that. We're gonna paste that in there. Can we do word wrap? I like word wrap on my notes, right? Cool. We just created a Word document or a file there. Does it allow to connect network storage? I mean SMB? Yeah, it absolutely should anyway. Oh well, there you go. In fact, you know what? Let's take a look at that. Let's do. Hold on. Those are all volumes, right? Compose down. Let's do it this way. I want to make sure, and I want to do this. I'm going to do this the laziest way possible. I was afraid I had done that. Right. I want to make sure we've got 3 containers here running. Great. Volumes. We're gonna get rid of all these volumes. We're gonna start over. Right. Oh no, cancel. I thought I unticked that. That almost borked my whole thing there. It's fine. It's whatever. Right. So let's come back over to here. Let's do a nano docker compose.yaml. Volumes backend. So Cloudreve data. That's yep. So let's do this. Let's do this. Home docker Cloudreve data, right? We're just going to put this on our file system here. Of course, if we had an NFS share associated with this LXC, we could mount to that path as well, right? So everything else, the Redis, oh, you know what? Hold on. Oh, Cloudreve, that's fine. Postgres, there it is. Okay, cool. We're going to redeploy this. We're going to deploy this using a mapped path here. We're going to see if that works. We're going to see how that goes. I'm going to give this a second to pull that up. And then I want to do cd home docker Cloudreve data. Okay, there's our config file. So let's do that. We're gonna restart this like so. And again, this is a brand new setup here. We're gonna sign up now. Right, sign up. Next. Cool. Now there's nothing in here, right? We've started fresh. I want to go back to here and just do an ls. Let's clear my screen and do that again, right? Cool. Let's try dropping some pictures in here again. We'll just grab a few of these. I'm genuinely curious what's going to happen here because I haven't done this before. Hey, look, temp uploads, cd into uploads. Oh. Sudo cd uploads. Well, isn't that interesting? Why can't I? Yeah, let me do it that way. Hold on. So I'm going to do a sudo su. Yeah, that was right. Cd into data. Let's cd into uploads. There we go. Cd into 1. Hey, look, there's all of that. So yeah, there you go. So you can absolutely do it that way. It created, so we've got our PNG and our PNG thumb, PNG thumb over and over and over again. All of that worked. Let's do one more thing here. Let's drop a video file in there. It should be fine, but you know, I like to be ridiculous. So that uploaded. Let's refresh the page. Okay, there's... Interesting, it says it did it. Oh, because I'm in videos. There's that. Let's play that just to make sure. We'll give it a second. It's probably doing some stuff in the background. But let's say I would suggest just mount an entire Cloudreve folder If you also have remote download function installed, because while using remote download, it creates a temp folder and stores. Yeah, well, right. Well, it did. It created a temp folder. Oops. Yeah, no, we've got a temp folder right there. CD. So it's currently, well, it was. I thought it was. But yeah, so it created the temp folder as well. So you can map it this way if you want. Depends on how you want to mount your files and your folders and that sort of thing with regards to how you want to process your data, how you want to manage your data. Again, you can also, map. You can come over to here. Oh, right, because we did that. That's new. New storage policy. You can create a new storage policy to map to a remote node. There's no nodes available because I haven't created one. Or to OneDrive. Load balance is under Pro, which makes sense. And in some of these, obviously, Huawei, Tencent, Alibaba, Kinyu, I don't know if that's right, but those are all going to be more Chinese-based locations there. But you could do OneDrive if that's what you wanted to do. But again, they've got some Chinese-specific stuff in there as well. You get your app ID, you get your client secret, you grant access. Local name, that's not really what I want. Remote node, OneDrive, load balance. I kind of wish there was a different way to handle that. I guess you could do Amazon S3 compatible, and that would probably get the job done pretty well there also. But again, you'll notice that even doing an S3 compatible thing here isn't locked behind a paywall. This is still available on the free version. And I think that's pretty cool. It was dead simple to set up. We go back to our homepage. Hey, look, our thumbnails are starting to pop up. I can only imagine like what's going on over here. Yeah, we're definitely getting some stuff there. For me, I'd like to have the Docker container on one system and all of the stuff uploaded to a different location on my NAS and create a volume import container and mount to it. Yeah, and you could easily do something like that with an NFS share. Like if you set up an NFS share on your, on your NAS, you could then come over, like if you were doing this on Proxmox as an example, right? You could then add additional storage to this via an NFS share for storage as well. And I think you have to do it up here though, right? Storage, add, NFS. So from here, NFS, SMB, CIFS, iSCSI, Ceph, if you like to do Ceph, ZFS over iSCSI, lots of different ways that you could do this. And then once you had that created, you could actually make that storage for your containers. You could absolutely do that. In fact, I did that for a video once and had a really clickbaity title and kind of a bad premise in my explanation and got a lot of hate for it, but I deserved it. But you can absolutely do stuff like that. Again, I'm using Proxmox as an example here. But yeah, so there you go. That's kind of, sorry, I blanked there for a second. That's how easy it is to set up this app whose name, Cloudreve. Man, having a day. That's even with 2 cups of coffee, and that's why I'm talking fast. But yeah, so that's how easy it is to set up Cloudreve. That's how few things are locked behind a pro license with Cloudreve. Dead simple to set up. Of course, I didn't change any of my usernames and passwords for my setup, which I absolutely would. But super simple to set up. Absolutely love how easy that was. Love how easy it is to just deploy. And Thomas says, no tea time, I guess. I don't know. I guess I could, let's see. Hold on, let's do this. She's playing a video game right now, so let's interrupt her. I kind of feel like a jerk, but I think it'll also be funny. Oh, no, not that. Don't do that. R-A-C. There we go. Yeah, she just started a new... She's playing Fallout 4. This is going to wig her out. I'm not going to put her on speakerphone.
Hello?
Hi. People in my chat are saying, I guess there's no tea time today. And so I feel like that's a request for your appearance.
Well, your people are wrong. It's only just now tea time.
Oh,
I'll work on that.
all right. Well, thank you very much. See you in a second. She said that you guys are absolutely wrong. It is only now time, or it is only now tea time. So, so she'll be here in a moment for bringing me some tea. That's how I have ISOs and templates for Proxmox. Yeah, I love doing it that way. It's just easier. And if your Proxmox server and your NAS, for instance, are on like a 10 gig connection, you don't even realize that it's not directly on that server, and I love that. I have Cloudreve and TrueNAS VMware TrueNAS set up in Wow. Travis says, yo, I hope you're doing well. Well, thank you. I hope you are too. T helps keep the brain fog at bay. I agree. What kind of device do you recommend to run Proxmox? I saw your Zima Blade in one of your videos, but it's 4-core. Isn't it a bit small for virtualization? You know, it's funny. You can actually see if I can get my finger to point. Let me bring that. Jeez, they're right back there. There's a stack of three of them right there. There they are. Those three are Zima boards. Zima boards. Yeah. Sorry, I was confused with Zima board, and I've also got a Zima Blade here. So those three Zima boards were my Proxmox high availability cluster. I was running kind of a light load on them, and it was fine. Currently, I'm running. Oh, you know what? Here, I've got this too. Oops. Oh, geez, I knew that was going to happen. For a while, this was my Proxmox setup, and it worked great. I did that for months, and it was flawless. So find something that's got more than 4 cores and 4 threads. Thank you.
To all you little things.
T. But I would definitely recommend something with more than four cores and 4 threads. You know, when I did those right there, I had 12 cores and 12 threads, right? So I would do something that's at least 4 cores and 8 threads. But you know, you can also get an old a decommissioned workstation from like on eBay if eBay is an option for you. You know, decommissioned workstations on eBay are dead cheap. Oh, I don't even have that pulled up, but N150s are good. N200s are better. This is, oh, that's hilarious. This is literally what this Proxmox setup is on. Yeah, Proxtut is literally running on this. And it's been great for the most part. But you know, you can get like workstation, desktop. You know, some of these are kind of expensive. $130. It depends on how much you want in it, right? As far as storage and RAM and those sorts of things. The Elite Desk 800 G4s are amazing. These are really good. 24 gigs of RAM. It's got a 256 gig. So you throw a hard drive in there and you're up and running for $150, depending on what you want to do with it. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. Love it, right? Tea time humor, gotta have tea, man. Mrs. DB Tech is so wonderful. I agree. Hell, I do that with a 1 gig connection for home usage. Don't bother me much. I still remember having a 10 meg network connection. Yeah, that's fair. Vaz says, hi, boss. Mental says N150, I agree. Have you played around with any Llama LLMs, I have. I actually did a video kind of talking about that, where I had it as the brains for this, which is the Home Assistant Voice PE. I had Llama set up as my brains for that. It's fine as long as you've got the power to run it. It's fine. It's not something that I do personally. Like, I've thought about it, I've kicked around a little bit. Not really my shtick. For doing things like, saying, hey, Jarvis, turn off the lights. Hey, Jarvis, adjust the temperature. Those sorts of things, that's great. But for like asking questions, like if you're trying to settle a debate, just as a dumb example, and you're like, hey, Jarvis, how many people were at the 1987 Minnesota whatever game? Your LLM is going to be able to tell you that, right? But for just running lights and things like that, for automations, it's fine. But as far as actually doing much else with it, I'm not a big fan. Those G4s will take up to 64 gigs of RAM, which is great. This one coming with 24 gigs at $110, I think is great. Lots of options here that I would highly consider. I ended up getting a couple of the like this. I mean, that seems Dell Precision. It's going to be kind of big. It's got a Intel Xeon 16 gigs of RAM. Let's see if we can find more information about it down here. Intel Xeon, man, I sure wish it told me more about that. It just says Intel Xeon, outstanding. 16 gigs of RAM, DDR4. I mean, no Dell. That's funny. But again, just there are options out there at a reasonable price that would get you set up. That's kind of cool looking. That's a 3rd gen. 8 gigs of RAM, no OS, 500 gigs of hard drive, $129. I think there's better offers, but it's a cool looking case. You want something small, the HP ProDesk 600, that's tiny. With an i3 10th gen and 8 gigs of RAM, I mean, there's no overkill. I just upgraded a bunch of stuff in my Unraid server and realized that I was only short a motherboard, memory, and GPU to build a new system. Bought a Geekbuy 10-inch rack and the parts of my new, so that's cool. No overkill, right? I have an N100 with 8 gigs of RAM and Proxmox with 6 LXCs that have important services. Yeah, in fact, I've got an N100 that was running my previous test setup, and it was great. So, it depends on what your budget is, but I feel like I personally would want something more than that. But again, it depends on what your needs are, what your budget is, what your availability happens to be. My current project is retro gaming setup. I was able to get OPL working on a PS2. And now the entire PS2 library is available via an SMB server. That's cool. My EverDrive X60 or 64X7 will be here today. I don't know what that is, but it sounds fancy. I don't know what that is. Oh, nice. Sven says 300 a dial-up internet. What a traumatic experience to compare to today's connectivity, but still good times. Yeah. No, I've got a symmetrical 3 gig now. My first connection that was actually mine was a 256 kilobyte, whatever, DSL connection, so that I could, be on the phone and on the computer at the same time. Any recommendation for stock investment self-host Dockers? I've been trying Ghostfolio, but been running into some conversion issues. I don't do any of that finance stuff. And there's reasons for it. Like even in my personal life, as much as I would love to have investments, it really screws up our taxes when it comes to the kid. And that sucks. So we're making sure things are taken care of. But as far as a suggestion for investing in that sort of thing, I got nothing. Those HP mini PCs are best priced power usage, and one should be more than enough. I agree. I agree with that. I had 2 lines in the house back in the day, one for phone and one for the computer. I wasn't that fancy. I mean, I guess technically I was. We also had 2 phone lines. I lived with my grandparents in my early 20s, and they had a phone that was theirs, and then I got a separate line dropped in that I was able to split on the DSL setup to have phone and internet. So we had like 3 lines, I guess, technically, but only two drops into the house. So yeah. Oh, I closed it. Damn. eBay. Oh, geez. Do I have that? I do. For a budget Proxmox, you can use a Lenovo M910 with 32 gigs of RAM, a 1 terabyte SSD. They go for about $150. A Lenovo M910. M910. Let's look. For about $150 each, and they are power green, about 90 watts under load. That's not bad. Yeah, this has got 12 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig NVMe drive. That's not too bad. Wait, yeah, that's got the i5-7500. Same with this. This has got 16 gigs of RAM and a smaller drive for more money. I mean, here's a 910Q, 8 gigs of RAM for $80 with a interesting. So lots of options at a very, very good price. Gold Bowl says good night. Thanks for hanging out. Super appreciate you being here. To get off the internet when there was a phone call that needed to be, yeah. Yeah, I love having fiber. I got fiber 2 years ago, I think, and it's been amazing. The M150 is there to keep my network humming if the main server goes down for any amount of time. That's fair. Yeah, I had a small stack of Lenovo P340s. Love them. That's cool. What is it? Now I gotta look up the P340 because I don't know. P340. Oh, well, there you go. There we go. It's not that one. That one's got to be sponsored or something. 16 gigs of, yeah, man, that looks great. 10th gen. That's awesome. That would make a beast of a high availability setup, especially if you ran all of your storage as an NFS share, and then they could just kind of swap things around as they needed to, but have all of your storage somewhere else. 3 of those, and you'd have a real beast of a high availability cluster there. That'd be a lot of fun. Huh. $300. I don't know. Let's look at that. I'm curious. Because I'm curious. I don't know a lot about that. All right. Here we go. So 6 cores, 12 threads. That's awesome. TDP of 65 watts. Oh, and they have 2 NVMe slots too. But do they have anything SATA, I guess, is the next question. And of course, these never have them opened up. They never have them opened up. So I guess it wouldn't matter if there was SATA. You could run your boot drive or your main, yeah, you could run that as like a RAID 0 for even faster, and then have your storage on a different thing there. Man. And it's got a PCI Express slot, it looks like. Low profile, albeit, but like you could throw a an Intel Arc A310 in there for transcoding if you wanted to go that route. If I'm looking at this correct, because that's what it looks like to me. But at a 65 watt TDP, I don't know. Here, maybe this is open. Yeah, somebody's got a graphics card right there, it looks like. No? Damn it. I am so confused. That looks like a graphics card to me, right? Like that's what's going on there? Because that's what it looks like is happening right there. Because this is cooling, right? Like that's cooling for the CPU. That makes me really wonder. I don't know. But what associated seriously nothing. Oh, there you go. I want to see if it says anything down here. GPU, dedicated graphics, outstanding. Oh, it's got an NVIDIA Quadro P1000 in it. Well, there you go. Then that becomes your transcoding unit for your Plex server. Have everything off on your NAS as an NFS share, and you're set to go. Screen not included. That's fine. LAN RJ45. That doesn't tell me much either. Didn't I already look that up? Yeah, I did. Because what I really want to know is what kind of a Ethernet. There we go. Okay, so it's just a 1 gig connection, but you know, probably fine. Probably fine there, I would think. It's only got the one, and that's kind of unfortunate, but lots of great connectivity there with the iGPU and the pass through there. Like, that could make a beast of a machine if you wanted to go that route and have, again, a high availability cluster. But you'd lose the PCI slot. That makes sense. But again, if you had your NFS share set up for your storage, you wouldn't need the SATA. You could just use the M.2 for your operating system, attach your NFS share for your storage, and deploy all of your containers, your LXCs, your VMs might be a bit much, but you could store put all your storage for those LXCs on an NFS share and wouldn't have an issue. And I think that'd be really fun. Hell, get rid of the Wi-Fi and add a 2.5 gig. Yeah, you could do that too, right? Let me go back one more. There we go. I just want to see. Sorry, I'm looking here, and I wanted to see if we could find. Because it's let's look there. This is the other side. This is going to be the front. I wanted to see if there was a. We'd actually see the Wi-Fi card there. Let's come over to here. So a couple of DIMMs, a couple of NVMe slots. Oh, that's a PCI 1X slot for the Wi-Fi. That's good to know. Yeah, I didn't see where it was here, and that's what I was looking for. Oops, out of there. But yeah, like I've got a Quadro card laying around. I've got the Arc A310. Sorry, I got to sneeze. But yeah, that could make a fun transcoding machine. And again, like 65 watts or something, I think it said. But you know. Oh, that's good. The M22260 is under the GPU card, but Lenovo have a hard whitelist. That sucks. Borg says, I miss the community of the old BBS days. Oddly, this channel brings back some of that feel of community. Thank you. Community's kind of been the big thing for me. You know, I've talked about this 100 times, so I'm not going to bring it up too much, but like I was really bad about building community early on when I first started the channel. I was an awful person in my own comment section. And I've done everything I can to try to take some of that back, to try to do better, to not be that person, because I was for so long. I needed a lot of help with therapists and medications because of brain stuff I had going on worse in the past. And it's getting better. It absolutely is. But you know, it's going to be an ongoing process, and I'm still working on continuing to try to be a better person. So the community aspect of things is really important to me. You know, having you guys here hanging out with me every weekend, anytime I'm able to do them, and you guys are, but this level of consistency is really important to me, because I spent so long trying to build a viewer, trying to build a community, and I think we're well on our way to doing that. You know, and as we keep doing these live streams, and I keep making more content, you know, we're getting closer and closer and closer to, you know, hitting big milestones here on the channel. Looking at my dashboard right now, we're 98,873 people who have subscribed to the channel, and that blows my mind. This says I've had 809 new subscribers in the last 28 days. I haven't put up much content in the last 3 weeks, so that tracks. So even at this rate, by the end of probably by the beginning of December, we'll hit that 100,000 mark, and that I just can't even quite fathom that. That is bonkers to me. What does this say? Oh, nice. Sorry, looking at comments over here that have come through. Holy balls! Wow. Sorry, just looking. So YouTube's been on a bit of a bender lately, and luckily I came in here and looked. See, and here we go, right? So let's look. These comments have been held. This person says I've had some, or is quoting what I said. Now he's complaining that I used light mode. Can't win him, man. Thank you for the incredible introduction. I'm a fan of you and Dockage. A little correction about Portainer. You can set up persistent storage where you compose files and not lose them. They don't understand that Portainer is free. Apparently they'll have to address that. Interesting. I don't know who that is. That was unnecessary. Use pink mode next time, right? Added UID and GID as 1000 and broke everything. Well, then you did it wrong, but it's a learning process. Bummed has a very different meaning here in Ireland. I agree. It absolutely does. Can you tell me how to configure with Cloudflare? Phew. All of these have been marked as, these have all been like hidden. Like I'm having to approve all of these comments because YouTube has just gone crazy. Fortunately, the list has a few limitations. Keep an eye on it. Yeah, like, what? I don't understand. Use the defaults latest. Great. I don't know why all of these have been marked as potentially inappropriate. I don't. All of this worked for me without all of the fluff. I don't understand why all of these. I'm one of the people that don't want to use Nextcloud. In fact, actively express other. I don't understand. All of those were marked as potentially inappropriate. This is the only one that was mildly inappropriate. That's so weird. But this is the kind of stuff that I'm up against with them. And obviously it's not a big deal, but it's a something. Anywho, can I do it that way? There we go. Yeah, YouTube has been hitting the throttle a bit too hard. I agree. It's getting there. I'm glad they kind of figured out, or somebody kind of figured out the view drop thing potentially. I think that's important. But you know, it's an ongoing thing with YouTube. Every time there's a little thing, everything blows up. Good to know that spaces won't save me, right? It's interesting that that this person said I'm back. I don't know why they thought. I don't know who that person is. Their channel's 5 years old, almost 6 years old at this point. Doesn't make any sense to me. But you know, it happens. It happens. But I'm just come back over to here and scroll down to there. That's great. So, what have we missed? What have I forgotten to talk about today? Probably a bot. Bot accounts don't usually last 6 years. Thomas says, "What's your thoughts on Rumble?" I have mixed thoughts on. I have mixed thoughts on Rumble. Look, I'm all about free speech. I'm all about not being silenced. I think those are important. However, I'm actually on Rumble. If I remember, Rumble DB Tech YT. Maybe I closed my account. I don't remember. Let me try Rumble. I had a Rumble account because it was kind of a backup for certain videos that, in case I wanted to post something and couldn't on YouTube or whatever. Let me see if I can sign in. Sign in. Yeah, I deleted my Rumble account. I think it's important to have a place where you can post without being afraid of being censored or silenced. I think that is absolutely important. However, a lot of the people that have gone there have gone there because some of the stuff that some of the people are putting on there are just blatant lies and misinformation. And anytime somebody is like, hey, you know, I got silenced, I got censored, I got whatever, it becomes a political thing when it had nothing to do with politics. It had to do with spreading lies and misinformation. So a lot of those people go to other sites like Rumble. Again, I think it's great that it's there. I was on it for a while, but you know, there are just some people on there that that's why they're there. So Borg Swarm says, damn, gotta go. Just finished 8 hours patching servers, need a nap before I go to do 4 hours of yard work, bro. Yeah, no, definitely go do that. Get some rest, man. Glad to have you here. Thank you so much. Different platforms. I think, look, I'm also on Odyssey. I haven't touched Odyssey in a long time. On Odyssey. Let me see if I can even get logged in here anymore. Log in. Well, then fill it. Thank you. I haven't touched my Odyssey account in a really, really long time. Content. Yeah, I haven't touched it in 10 months. Odyssey is another one of those. Like for a while, I had my YouTube account synced with my Odyssey account. So anytime I would upload to YouTube, it would automatically auto sync over to here. The problem is I don't know that there's a huge following on here, right? Like I've got 372 followers. Trending is based on 9 views 4 years ago. So I feel like their platform isn't great as far as that's concerned. Again, my top video, 7 views 4 years ago. No. How fresh. Like, this doesn't resonate with me. So I don't know. I think it's important to have alternate platforms for different things. I think that certain types of people flock to different types of platforms for very specific reasons, and I don't necessarily want to be associated with some of those outliers. And it's maybe some of that is political, but you know, I also got to be careful. So it's like the whole ripping issues. Never heard of Rumble before. Just looked, and it seems aggressively American political to me for a non-user running in a. Yeah, right. Flameberg is pretty spot on. It's all about political affiliation on that platform, and I know it's all about political affiliation is a huge call for generalization there, but I don't want to be associated with political divisiveness. You know, like I've talked about a little bit of political stuff here and there from time to time, and it's not what this channel is about. You know, like I had somebody get super political in a comment about a live stream we did a while back about Kiwix, super butthurt because I demonstrated that you could back up Wikipedia. All kinds of offensive slurs were thrown out from him, not from me, and I was like, no, let's shut that down. I was like, look, I appreciate your take on this, but I don't want name calling done in here. I was using that as an example, and he apologized, but then kept doing it. So, you know, it's whatever. The reason is for a dark source, so you don't have to deal with YouTube issues when it comes to content. And the reality is, I'm tailoring my content so that it's not a huge deal anymore. I'm very careful about that sort of thing. As much as I can be. Vaz, thank you for the donation over on Coffee. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. But too much drama online these days, and there's a reason for it. It's because drama makes money. Drama absolutely makes money. People who you've never heard of could start a drama channel talking crap about politics and blow up and become an overnight sensation and make a ton of money and disappear. But they don't want to do that because they get addicted to the money and the fame and the engagement and the, you know, all of that stuff, and they just keep doing it. So Nightbot made me do it. That's funny. Well, I'm glad that Nightbot is doing its job and finally earning its keep for being a free service. So, let's see. It's too much drama. Time for a proper self-hosting as suprematism channel, weaponized anti-Windows movement. So it's funny that you say that, because I've got this idea for a video, and we've talked about it a little bit, where I want to have kind of a, and it started with the Kiwix live stream. Kiwix will be kind of the focal point of that for backing up information, right? Not just Wikipedia, but but like if we come over to here, you know, TED Work Life, maybe Media Wiki, but there's like, if we can, let's do this. Can we do? There's Stack Exchange, there's iFixit. iFixit would be a good one to have offline in the end of the world kind of thing. Let's do all categories, and let's do like medicine, right? So there's library texts for medicine, military medicine, TED medicine, surviving residency, which is more becoming a doctor stuff. The world's largest emergency medicine open access resource. So having all of those kinds of things available to you offline on a small, low-powered server. But in addition to that, you know, like inventory solutions, recipe solutions, communication solutions, all in a very small thing, kind of an apocalypse end of days server, is a video idea that I'm working on that I need to put some more effort into. So that's kind of the self-hosting suprematism channel idea is kind of a prepper-ish theme that I think would probably do very well on Rumble. But I don't know if I want to start an account just for that one piece of content. So it will probably just go on YouTube and be done. But even then, I've got to be careful about how I word things and how I phrase things, and I've got to be very clear about the legality of what we're doing here. Actually thinking about doing that with like Ubuntu desktop, so that you don't have to have a second computer or a phone or something to access it. It would just be all local desktop stuff, I think would be how I would handle that. But it's something I'm working on, kicking around a little bit. What do you recommend for sharing files nowadays with Docker containers? Oh man, for sharing files right now with Docker containers. I mean, if you're just trying to share files, man, Cloudreve does the job real well. I mean, you know, like with this, I could, I don't want to share that. But like I could right click and I could say, you know, share, and then I could just share this. So like Cloudreve is super simple to set up and share. C file is another one. Nextcloud, if you really hated yourself, you could do that. There's lots of different options here, and that's kind of what we're doing, is exploring what some of that might be. Cloudreve interests me quite a bit. So maybe Cloudreve. It's super simple to set up. We deployed it in like 2 minutes. Maybe that. So was Linus and Jeff Geerling till it was a prepper's guide to tech. So with regards to like Linus and Jeff, they're both on Floatplane, I think. And I've tried to get on Floatplane and I can't. I've applied 3 different times, I think, and never heard back on any of them. So I don't know if my account wasn't big enough. I don't know if they weren't interested in my content. I don't know what led them to decide that I shouldn't be on their platform, but despite multiple attempts, they weren't interested in having me, and that is absolutely their prerogative. That is their that's their private Floatplane, LNG, whatever. It's their private solution, you know, and they can accept and deny whoever they want. I just didn't get accepted, and that makes me a little sad, if I'm honest, but. Sven, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Floatplane isn't for small channels compared to them. Yeah, like maybe I'll try again after I hit the 100,000 mark. We'll do some exclusive content over there or something. I don't know. Let's see. So what is your daily driver distro for home, portable, i3WM, or any window manager? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what you're asking. Windows. So is Cloudreve a total offline service? We'll kind of come back to that. I just use Windows 11 for my Windows solution for my daily driver. I've got Display Fusion installed on this machine that lets me do a few extra things, but it's so unnecessary with Windows 11. I've considered uninstalling it. But I use Windows on all of my machines for everything here. So is Cloudreve a total offline service? How do you mean? That's I'm not sure I understand the question. Like you can just host it locally and have it available just on an IP address, or are you asking about it phoning home? Because you can have it just be local IP address stuff. As far as phoning home, I genuinely, no internet needed. Yeah, I mean, once you've got it downloaded, you shouldn't need internet. But that said, as far as using it, like, you know, like this is just on a local IP address. Like, you won't be able to share outside your network, or that sort of thing. But as far as just using it locally, yeah, like you can do that. You don't necessarily need it to be online to be usable unless you want to access it outside your house. So yeah, lots of different ways you can use it. But I think for the video that I'll do on this, I will look at setting up a WebDAV server to go along with the this and the only Office solution that I've got in here for the additional file editing and that sort of thing. So yeah, hey Nighthawk, you made it just in time as I was about to start wrapping things up. Nighthawk, in fairness, is hours ahead, a couple hours ahead of me here. So I'm sure he had other things to do on Saturday morning, which is totally understandable. So, but yeah, no, big fan of this so far, despite some limitations. But super simple to set up, super easy to use. Definitely going to consider digging more into this to make some content about it, with all of the functionality, including a WebDAV server. You are nuts, dude. You're bonkers. It is not warm enough for that nonsense. You got that? All right. Well, the kid's going to go play in the pool, a sprinkler, whatever, right? And it is not warm enough for that. Hold on. It is 70 degrees Fahrenheit right now. We have a high of 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which for the rest of the world is 21 degrees Celsius, and that is not warm enough. Let's see. Nighthawk says lunch with the wife and meeting her mom after 6 years. Oh, okay. Well, I hope that went well. The reason I ask is that some services, when they do see an internet access, they go kind of screwy and don't work as advertised. I don't know. That's a fair question. I genuinely don't know. I mean, I guess I could throw up like a firewall of some variety and do some more testing, but I don't know. I haven't tested that functionality. So yeah, I don't know. It might be something interesting to test. But yeah, guys, I think with that said, and Nighthawk, I apologize. I was actually just getting ready to start wrapping up here. As a former kid, I know that the sense of temperature isn't a feature. I remember water skiing in March at one point. Yeah, no, I get that, man. And to make it better or worse or whatever, the kid's very proprioceptive, meaning he doesn't feel things the way a neurotypical person might. Like if I dig my thumb into my finger, I can feel that pretty quickly, and he won't. He bumps into stuff all the time and doesn't feel it. It's a thing. So congrats to him, I suppose, but just it doesn't interest me at all. So yeah. So thank you guys again. I'm gonna wrap this up. I need to get some food in me. I got to get back on the appropriate eating path that I was on for a while before the last 3 weeks kind of blew up. So I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to go find something to eat. I got some other content that I got to make for a brand who sent me some stuff. I got to get that recorded. I got to get that put together, that sort of thing. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I've got content coming, obviously, this week, provided the world doesn't blow up for me again. Again, thank you guys for hanging out, spending part of your Saturday with me today. And we'll talk to you again here really soon. Again, have a great rest of your weekend.